अरिहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाय स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब अज भयो कर जोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So we will continue with Purusharth Siddhi Upay. We had left over at 51. Verse number 51, aphorism number 51, wherein we started with that different types of physical violence and psychic violence, right? Material violence and psychic violence. So these are the two types of violence, dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa. So different types of viewpoints regarding this. So there are in all 8 types of viewpoints. The first one was about that a person who is very mindful, careful, walking, and he is one insect is coming under his foot and that insect gets killed. Still, he would not be responsible for doing violence. He will not bind karmas. Why? Because his intention was to save the even smallest of smallest insects. Okay, with that objective, he was walking. So, although physically there was a violence, physically there was a hinsa, but since his intention was to save the insects, so that's why he will not bind the karma of hinsa. Another case was there that a boy was walking carelessly on the road without without looking on the floor, but looking left and right, and he didn't kill any of the insects. Okay, still he would be binding intense karma's bondage. Why? Because his intention was not to save the insect. Okay. So this was the first aphorism. Now we will today begin with the second one. Okay. The second aphorism is verse number 52. Yeah, here starts. Yes. The second aphorism concerning dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa is as follows. So bhav hinsa is a psychic violence and dravya hinsa is a physical violence or material violence. Okay. So here they have used these two words, dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa. So you now know all the meanings. So there is no confusion on that front. Okay. So for one jiva, even slight hinsa yields a great fruit at the time of fruition, while for another, even great hinsa yields a very small fruit at fruition. Okay, so how is this possible? Why is so much of variation? Okay, so we will see the commentary. This was the meaning of the aphorism. Now we will see the commentary. एक 1 minute. I'll just open the Hindi one also so I can read the Sanskrit part also. Yes. एकस्य अल्पा हिंसा काले अनल्पम फल ददाति. What it means? For a certain jeev, even slight hinsa gives a great fruit at the time of fruition. Okay, so physically he has done very little violence. Okay, but the fruit will be that he will get great fruit at the time of its maturity. I'll give you an example. You know, in the market, mosquito rackets are available. You know, those look like badminton rackets, but they are mosquito rackets meant to kill the mosquitoes. Okay, so you bought a mosquito racket because there were mosquitoes at your place. So you bought a mosquito racket and it was lying at the home, but there were no mosquitoes, so you didn't use it for 10 days. Okay, on the 11th day, one mosquito you could see. Okay, and immediately you took out that mosquito racket and touched that mosquito and he got killed because it was electron. It has got electronic connections. The moment the mosquito comes in touch with that racket, it gets killed, and that mosquito got killed. Okay, now, so what in terms of physical violence, how much you have done? Only one mosquito. But since you were holding that record at your home since 10 days, and you were always thinking that the moment the mosquito will come, I will kill. The mosquito will come, I will kill. Because of that, for 10 days, you were binding intense karmas, demerit karmas. Okay. So, physically killing only one mosquito, but when it will come into fruition, it will give a great fruit. Clear? Example is clear? Okay. I am planning to give you as a CC1 homework this whole chapter of Ahimsa, because the kind of explanation that Amrit Chandra Acharya Dev has given here in Purusharth Siddhi Upay, it's absolutely incredible. Okay, so I will give you homework for CC1, okay, on this ahimsa. Okay, ahinsanu vrat. So where there from it starts from 42 to 90. So many words are covered. You have to summarize this. Okay, and especially these 8 different types of viewpoints on hinsa and ahimsa. Okay, so your topic would be hinsa and ahimsa, that much. So you can pick up from here, uh, starting from the 42, starting from the verse number 42 up till I think it is around 60. Okay, then there are some other discussions that you can still live on, but I'll message you when it is due. You know, once we finish the study of this, then I will message it. Okay, so this was the first example, mosquito racket. Only one mosquito killed, but at the time of fruition he will get great fruit because all the 10 days he was looking for mosquito to kill. Okay, no mosquito came, so physically there was no violence. 11th day, one mosquito came and you killed, but the fruition would be for all the 11 days and the fruit will be very great at the time of fruition. Okay, Bhavarth. A jiva may have committed only a small amount of external hinsa. However, having transformed extensively into kasai-laden states due to pramad, that jiv receives a great fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Are you understanding the example? It fits here? Okay. Now, the second part of this same aphorism anasya mahahinsa paripake swalpafala bhavati. Okay, what does it mean? For another jeev, another scenario, great hinsa yields a small fruit at the time of fruition. Here there is an example given. Jivandar Kumar, Jivandar Swami is a character in a Pratman Yog story, Chatra Chudamani. The name of the book is Chatra Chudamani, and the main hero of that story is Jivandar Swami. Okay, and his father's name was King Satyendra. He was a king. His name was Satyendra. Once he was fighting with an enemy. Okay, and while fighting, he got detachment. Seeing soldiers being killed around him, he got vairagya, detachment. Okay, and he left the battlefield and went to the forest, went to the acharya, and got initiated into monkhood. So, in terms of physical violence, how much he was doing? Much, because he was fighting the enemies, right? So he was killing here and there, here and there, here and there. So much of physical violence was being done. Okay. But since uh, he got detached with that activity, and when he got detached, the passions was very mild. That's why he got detached, right? So passion was mild, and the fruition that came was very small, because he intended to not to kill anybody, but because of the fight, he has to kill, right? And ultimately, that only became a instrumental cause for his detachment, and he became detached, he became a monk, and he started doing his meditation. Okay, so this example fits here. For another jiva, great hinsa yields a small fruit at the time of fruition. Okay. Okay. A jiva may, due to circumstances or the situations, have committed extensive external hinsa, yet remaining indifferent in that activity and generating only slight kashai. Okay, that jiva receives only a small fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. So one thing very clear from the first two aphorisms, that it is our passions that gives us a direction of what kind of bondage we are doing and what would be the fruition. If the passions are intense, irrespective of in the outer you are creating violence or not, doesn't make a matter. If your passions are intense, you will have intense bondage, and the fruition will also be intense. Okay. But if you have a mild passion, okay, then the fruition will also be very little. Everywhere, this would be the basis of bondage, this would be the basis of dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa. Okay, your sentiments, your manifestations, your dispositions, your passions, that is only going to govern. If you are having intense passions, then intense bondage. Low mild passions, then mild bondage. Okay. The third aphorism, that is verse number 53, concerning dravya hinsa, bhav hinsa, is stated here. The very same hinsa gives an intense fruit to one and a mild fruit to another. Even hinsa committed jointly attains diversity at the time of fruition. Okay. What it says, we will see the commentary. Hinsa committed jointly by two persons attain diversity, that is manifold differentiation, at the time of fruition. So there is a drastic difference into the fruition that has come to both. Why? Okay. So that's we are going to understand. I'll give you two examples. First example, there were two persons who went to the temple for Abhishek, you know, that anointment ceremony, Abhishek. So two persons, two sadharmiks went to the Mandirji for that Abhishek. So both performed the same activity, both wear dhuti and dupatta, and then both were doing this anointment ceremony. Okay. But the fruits became different. Both received different fruits. Why? Because the first person was having very mild passion at that point of time. The other one was, he saw that so many people have turned up today for anointment ceremony, right? And he has to complete his puja and he has to go to an appointment. So the puja got little bit delayed because there were 15 people for that day. Usually there were only 10 people. But today, because of say Ashtami or Chaudas, there were 15 people. So it took a longer time to finish that ceremony, then start the puja and end the puja. So he was a bit worried. Okay. So he got more fruit than the other one. Other one was very mild, passionate. He said that, oh, so many people have come. It's such a good sign. Our community is progressing. Our mandirji is progressing, and the Jain dharma is spreading. So he was happy. So he bound very little karma. And on fruition, he got very little fruits. Okay. And the other one was considering different things at that point of time. So he got great fruit on fruition. So this is one example. Okay. Then,
I have a question.
yes.
So when men are doing this Abhishek ceremony,
Mhm.
what I have seen many times is that like you really feel like you want to do it.
Yes.
And then there's also other people, like new people who have never done it or also want to do it, but they don't
Right.
know how to do it.
Right.
But sometimes I've seen that certain people will just always rush, go to the front, the others are
Uh,
left behind. How does that
uh.
all balance out actually with this in mind? What's
So
the right
like
approach?
as I said, different people have different kind of intentions, right? So in my example, like first one was so generous, he was so happy that so many people are, so he was doing anumodna for all others also. Okay, so everybody should come and should participate in the ceremony, right? That was his feeling. The other one was thinking the other way, that today 15 people have come, so it will take more time. So I will get late for my appointment of business and all, whatever it's going through his mind, you know. So the fruition would be different. Same activity. Both did the same activity, but one is getting less fruit, other is getting more fruit. Okay. So this is all about your thinking, your sentiments, and your manifestations. This makes all the difference. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah. So the second part, that very hinsa gives an intense fruit to one person, that very hinsa gives a mild fruit to another jeev. Okay. Two persons may have committed externally hinsa equally. Now this one. However, the one who committed hinsa with intense kashai receives an intense fruit at the time of fruition due to greater attachment. Okay. Whereas the one to whom no particular attachment arose because of mild kashai receives a mild fruit at the time of fruitions. Now I'll give you one example. A monk was meditating, okay, and there was a lion. He saw the monk and he thought of killing the monk and eating him. Same time, there was uh, what you call male pig, boar, okay, and he saw that lion coming towards the monk and he thought of saving the monk. Both had an intense fight for quite a long time, and in the end, both got killed. So both were fighting against each other. One wanted to save the monk, the other wants to kill the monk. Okay. Both had an intense fight and both died. So the lion went to the hell and the boar, he went to the heaven. Why? Because of the intention. One was having very high intense passions for killing. One was having low passions, mild passions for saving the monk. Okay. One was having an auspicious sentiment, another was having an inauspicious sentiment. Although both were trying to kill each other. So both were having physical activity of the same level. Okay. But because of the difference of intention, both got different fruits. Okay. So this was about 53. Now we are moving on to the fourth aphorism. Okay. Fourth aphorism. So there are 4 points into it. First point. Some hinsa yields its fruit even beforehand. Okay. Some hinsa yields its fruit beforehand. Some yields its fruit while being committed. Some yields its fruit even after having been committed, and some, having merely begun the act of committing hinsa, yields its fruit even when not actually carried out. So 4 types of scenarios. Okay. So we will discuss one in detail, and then I will give one for each example. With example, it will be easy for you to understand. Thus, himsa yields its fruit strictly in accordance with the intensity of the kashai state, passions. Okay. This line is very important. You can note it down. Thus, hinsa yields its fruit strictly in accordance with the intensity of the kasai, passion. So, if the intensity is high, the bondage will be more, fruition will be more. If the intensity is very low, passions would be mild, bondage would be mild, and fruition would be very less. Okay. So four kinds of different scenarios, and each having the same principle, that hinsa yields its fruit strictly in accordance with the intensity of the passions. Okay. Now we'll see one at a time. First one, commentary. Cha hinsa prak eva falati. Some hinsa yields its fruit even before the act occurs. A jiva entertained the thought of committing hinsa. Okay. But the act could not be carried out. Nevertheless, the karma bound through that thought came to fruition. Subsequently, the act of hinsa corresponding to that thought may also have occurred externally. In this way, hinsa yields fruit beforehand. Okay. So I'll give you an example for this. There was a thief. He was planning to steal something from a person's place. So for 3 days he was planning, but he was not getting a chance, because something or the other somebody would wake up and somebody would come. So his plan was not getting succeeded. Okay. So but while he was thinking in these terms of stealing, he was binding karma. Okay. So those karmas will come into fruition. Okay. So even if he has physically not stole anything, still he had binded the karma for stealing. Okay. For all these three. Fourth day, as he was ready with all his tools and everything and plan, he was caught by the police. Okay. Before executing the plan, he was caught by the police. Okay. Now, physical, there was no stealing. Okay. But he got the punishment. Right. So this is the first example. Some yields its fruit, some hinsa yields its fruit even beforehand. So he never committed a hinsa, but he got the fruit beforehand. Okay. So here it is. A jiva entertained the thought of committing hinsa, but the act could not be carried out. Nevertheless, the karma bound through that thought came to fruition. Subsequently, the act of hinsa corresponding to that thought may also have occurred externally. In this way, hinsa yields fruit beforehand. Clear? Darshit ji, everyone clear? Sasikala ji, are you understanding? Examples?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay. If anywhere you don't understand, just stop me and ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. Sure, sure, sure.
Okay. So now the second example. Kriyamana falati. Some hinsa yields fruit while being performed. Okay. A person conceived the thought of hinsa and bound karma thereby. When that karma came to fruition, at that time the corresponding external hinsa also occurred. In this manner, by committing hinsa itself, the fruit is obtained. So you are getting the fruit simultaneously. How it is possible? So with an example. So a person was making plot to kill somebody. Okay. So he was doing Reiki, he was doing planning. Okay. With this intention and thought, he bound new karmas. Okay. And when that karma came into fruition, at that time, his planning of killing also got executed. That also got succeeded. So, in this scenario, the execution of hinsa and the fruits of hinsa both came simultaneously. Okay. So, that was the second point. Now, the third scenario. Karta api sa falati. Some insa yields fruit after having been committed. So that is the general trend, right? A person conceived the thought of hinsa and in accordance with that thought also carried out external hinsa. However, its fruits arose later at the time of fruition. In this way, after the act has been completed, hinsa bears fruit. So this is very simple. This is the normal case which is always happening. Hai na? So we all the time have thoughts of doing something, harming something. Okay, we may not harm immediately, but the thought, with that thought, you have already bound the karmas. Although physically
Sir,
you are not doing any hinsa.
sir, 1 second. Can you clear me? I realized it. It is wrong.
Which one?
The thought has come.
Ah,
Wrong thought. I realized it. It is not. It is papa. Papa bondage is there. So
ah.
I felt it. I should not do. I did some Panchanamaskar mantra. Even the bondage will be there, but that intensity will be reduced. Is it?
Yeah, but the time you got the thought of harming something or
Ah,
killing something,
ah,
at that time itself, the
ah.
karma is bound.
Is bound. Yes, that moment.
Okay. With
Yes.
your thoughts, with your intention, the karmas have already bound. Physically,
Hmm,
you have not done anything, right?
hmm, hmm,
So the karmas are bound, okay?
hmm,
And when the karmas come into fruition, at
hmm,
that time, there will be the uh, same violence would be committed. Okay. So this
hmm,
is the natural scenario that we plan for doing some harm. So immediately we bind the karma and
hmm.
then later on we execute that plan. Okay. So that's the normal case. That is the third case. Okay. Now the fourth one. Hinsa kartum arabhya api falati. Even after merely beginning to commit hinsa, it yields fruit. A person formed the thought of hinsa and set about committing it. However, later due to some cause, the act of hinsa was not carried out. Even such hinsa yields fruit. Okay. So somebody thought some thoughts on infidelity. Okay. Somebody have some thought of committing infidelity with his partner. Okay. But later on, he didn't commit the sin. Okay. But with that thought, the karmas have already been bound. Okay. So even the physical, there is no violence have been done, but still with this thought, he has already bound the karma. Okay. So this is the fourth scenario. A person formed the thought of hinsa and set about committing it. However, later due to some cause, the act of hinsa was not carried out. So the activity was not carried out, but because of his thought, he has already bound the karmas, and even such hinsa yields fruit. Okay. So the whatever karma that has been bound will definitely yields fruit.
So, for example, sir, I feel like having aloo kanda.
Uh,
So I have already bound the karma.
yes. Even if you don't eat.
But if I restrain, so the intensity will be less, sir.
See, that is a different scenario altogether. There are many factors to it, but we are talking in terms of the moment the thought cropped up, you have already bound karmas. Okay.
Okay.
Now, you may commit the physical violence or may not commit. That's a different thing. But already the karma has been bound. Okay. But then later on, maybe um, you regret for having those thoughts. Okay. And you do some pratikaman prayashchit. So maybe the results may moderate out. Okay. It may not be that instance as it was bound. So those things are always there because every activity in terms of mind, speech and body of ours, always there is a karmas are binding. Okay. Sometimes auspicious, sometimes inauspicious, all the while it keeps on happening. So when your sentiments are of very auspicious kind, automatically things slow down, you don't get that much fruit as you were supposed to get, because utkarshan, apkarshan, sankraman and udina, these four types of states, of karma. There are 10 states of 10 modes of karma: bandh, uday, satta, बंध उदय, बंध सत्ता उदय, उदीर्णा, उत्कर्षण, अपकर्षण, संक्रमण, उपशांत, निकाचित and nidati, nikachit. Okay, these are the 10 modes. So out of these 4 modes, everywhere there is a changes happening in the karma. Okay, utkarshan means increase, upkarshan means decrease, and udina means coming before maturity, and sankraman means converting, pap converting to punya and punya converting to pap, depending on the sentiments that you manifest. Okay, that will form as an instrumental cause. Okay, so this was the verse number, aphorism number 54. Last paragraph is still remaining. We will read that also. The reason for the fruition is stated here. Anubhavena. The fruit arises in accordance with the intensity of kasai states. Okay. So the fruit arises in accordance with the intensity of kasai state. This very term is to be understood everywhere in the subsequent aphorisms. Okay. So one thing very common from the beginning itself, that the fruit arises in accordance with the intensity of kashai, that is passions. Okay. So this will be, this very term is to be understood everywhere in the subsequent aphorism, like the maxim of the threshold lamp, daily Deepak Nyay. Therefore, it is stated here in the middle. Okay. So it will be applicable to previous one also, and the next aphorisms also. So in Hindi literature, there is this daily Deepak. Daily Deepak means that if you put a lamp on the partition in the middle of two rooms, then it will light up that room also and this room also. Okay. So in this way, this this very term, okay, which term? The fruit arises in accordance with the intensity of passions. Okay, this is applicable to before verses also and the coming verses also. Okay, so this is stated in the fourth one. So it is applicable to 1, 2, 3 also, and it is applicable to the next 5, 6, 7, 8 also. Same logic everywhere. Okay. Now we are moving on to the fifth aphorism, aphorism number 55. The fifth aphorism concerning Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa is stated here. One person commits Hinsa, yet many become recipients of its fruit. Very funny, no? One person committing Hinsa and many becomes recipients of its fruit. And the other scenario, likewise, many person commits Hinsa, yet a single person becomes the experiencer of the fruit of Hinsa. How is this possible? Let's see the commentary. It's given. The example is also given here that we will see. In some cases, one person commits Hinsa and many becomes experiencers of the fruit. Illustration. A single executioner kills a thief. Okay. You know, the what you call the one who hangs, you know, that Chandal, you know. So he only hangs. But at that point in time, many people were there to watch. Okay. Yet all the spectators, by generating cruel dispositions, okay, Rodro Dhyan. So there is a violence happening, one person is getting killed and the other persons are rejoicing. Okay. Theek hua, tit for tat. He was committing so sins, so he should be punished. Only that much. Okay. So all the spectators, by generating cruel disposition, becomes experiencers of demerit. Okay. So one person committing hinsa, all the other persons also getting fruits of those violence. Okay. Now the reverse case. In some case, many persons commit hinsa, but only one becomes the experiencer of the fruit of hinsa. Illustration. In warfare, many person commits acts of hinsa. Many soldiers sacrifice their life. Many soldiers killed other soldiers. Okay. Owing to the cognition of ownership and agency, is the instigator of that hinsa. Therefore, he alone becomes the experiencer of the fruit of all that hinsa. Okay. So the king, yet the king, owing to the cognition of ownership and agency, so 1 lakh soldiers of king, they are committing the hinsa. But who will be responsible? Because king. Why? Because he only instructs them, go and kill them, kill them, kill them. So he is going to bear the fruit of that violence. Okay. So this one was very clear, and illustration was also given in the textbook. Now, 56th. Okay. 56 and 57. Oh, both are together. For one person, hinsa yields only the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. This is a very normal case we already discussed earlier. For another, that very hinsa yields an abundant fruit of ahimsa. So if someone is doing hinsa, yields an abundant fruit of ahimsa. Now, this is something tricky. Okay, we will understand this. Let's read the other one. For one person, hinsa yields only the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. For another, that very hinsa yields an abundant fruit of ahimsa. Okay. So one person hinsa yields hinsa. For another person, hinsa yields an abundant fruit of ahimsa. That was the first scenario. The same second scenario, for one person, hinsa yields only the fruits of hinsa at the time of fruition. Similar like the previous one. For another, that very hinsa yields an abundance of fruit of ahimsa. And for yet another, ahimsa yields the fruit of hinsa at fruition, while for still another, hinsa yields only the fruit of ahimsa. Now this is language is bit complicated, but the commentary is very easy. See the below. For a certain jiva, ahimsa gives the fruit of himsa at the time of fruition. So initially he has committed hinsa, bound the karmas, okay, and fruit. What is the fruit for a certain jiva? Ahimsa. Wait, tu aparyasya. For a certain jiva, ahimsa gives the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Yes, this one. For a certain jiva, ahimsa gives the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. Before going on to the principle, let's understand first the story. Okay. So there were two friends. One was blind and the other was having a hunchback. You know, hunchback, just like camel have a hump. So he also had a hump. Some portion of his back has came out. Okay. It is called hunchback. So they both were friends. One was blind and other was hunchback. The blind one was very powerful, well built, but he was blind. Okay. And the other one was having a hunchback, and both were very good friends. So the person with hunchback was thinking that if I kill this blind person, I will take all his wealth. He is alone, so all the wealth will come to me because I am only his friend, right? So with that intention in mind, the hunchback cooked the food because the other was blind. So he cooked the food, he made sweet dishes, and in that sweet dish, he put poison. Okay. And then he told the blind person that I'm going out near the river, near the river. When you feel hungry, you can eat. Okay. So after say half an hour, 1 hour, that person with the person who was a blind, he got hungry. So he went to the kitchen and he opened that sweet dish. Okay. And as he opened that that plate, removed that plate, okay, suddenly there were some chemicals, smoke of chemicals coming out of it, and that chemical, that smoke hit his eye, and he started seeing. Okay, so his eyes got cured with that chemicals. His eye got cured. And then with smell and all, he saw that something is wrong. So he got a doubt. So what he did, there was animal passing through. So he offered that sweet dish to that animal. And that animal ate that sweet dish and that animal died. So then he realized that this person's intention was not good. He was trying to kill me. So he thought of taking revenge. So now he could see. So that person had gone near the river. So he went to the river, and that person was sitting and thinking that the other blind person would have died. I will go home and take all his wealth. He was thinking on those lines, and he was sitting, turning towards the river. So this was very well built, the blind person, and now he was no more blind. So he went near and hit that hunchback person with his foot on the backside, and his hunch got away, and he also become good. Okay. So, but this person's intention was to throw him in the river. Okay. But because of his good luck, he could not do so. On the contrary, his hunchback got straight. Okay. So, in this story, both had the intention of killing each other. So, hinsa, initially the intent, because of intention, there was hinsa, and with that hinsa, the karma got bound. Okay. But what actually resulted was ahimsa. Ahimsa means welfare. So the hunchback person did welfare of the blind person, and blind person with an intention of hinsa did welfare of the hunchback person. Okay. So this principle that a jeev may inwardly possess a disposition intent on harming another, yet outwardly, in order to gain trust, that jiva acts beneficially. Okay. Or even when acting harmfully, due to the fruition of merit of the other, that act becomes beneficial. Okay. Same the case with the blind person. Okay. So the blind person got his eyes back. The other person thought of killing him, but his luck was good. So his eyes got good. Okay. There outwardly compassion appears to have been shown, that I am cooking the food for you, okay, don't worry, and all. Yet because the inner parinam, okay, is violent, the fruit of hinsa is obtained. Okay. On the outer, although the welfare of the blind person was done, but his intention was bad, so his hinsa is committed. Okay. Again, for another jiva, hinsa gives only the fruit of ahimsa and no other. See, a person may possess an inner disposition of compassion. Sometimes you have seen that you try to save the ant, small ant, okay, and you try to pick up and put it in a safe place. But while picking up, not intentionally but mistakenly, your pressure on that ant is bit high. You lose balance, so the pressure was bit high, and that ant got killed. Okay. So your objective was, you were having compassion, right? You were not trying to kill that ant. You were trying to save that ant and put it in a safe place. Because on the road, if somebody else comes, he will kill him, right? So you thought the better pick it up and put it in the side, so there he will be saved. But while picking up, some extra weightage went onto his body and he got killed. So here the same thing applies. A person may possess an inner disposition of compassion, and upon seeing a suffering jiva, exert effort to remove that suffering. Okay. Even if immediate distress arises, or even if despite careful effort, the life of that suffering jiva is lost. Okay. Due to this person's involvement there, although externally hinsa has been occurred, owing to the inner parinam, the fruit of ahimsa is obtained. Okay. So he is not binding karmas. Okay. On the contrary, he is getting the fruit of ahimsa, because his intention was to save. Okay. So this was the sixth verse. Now the seventh verse. So now you see somebody doing hinsa, getting fruit of ahimsa, somebody having compassion, not getting, although hinsa is committed. So all these aphorisms, the 6 aphorisms so far we have studied about Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa, puts us in a dilemma whether what is the actual nature of violence, Hinsa. Okay. So one principle that is emerging from all this discussion is that you get fruits according to the level of passions that you have. If it is mild passion, you will get good fruits. If it is intense passion, you will get inauspicious fruits. Okay, simply this much. Now the 7th and 8th are of different kind, but it is still relating to Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa only. Okay, so because of the peculiarity of this Hinsa, Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa, the students do get confused, that how is it possible that I'm committing hinsa and getting the fruits of ahimsa, and on the other hand somebody having compassion, but again outside it's hinsa is being seen on. Okay, so all these confusions leads to the 7th aphorism. What it says, so the 7th aphorism stating that only a teacher who knows the collective system of Nayas. So all these 6 aphorisms depicted six viewpoints, okay, from which we discussed the Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa. So these are also a kind of Nayas only, okay. The collective systems of Naya is competent to explain Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa is stated here, 58, okay. Thus, in this dense and extremely difficult thicket of diverse bhangas, okay, bhangas means naya, okay, viewpoints. For those whose vision is deluded regarding the path, okay, those who are a misbeliever, okay, teachers who are awakened and skilled in the circulation of the wheel of nayas become the refuge. Okay. So if you take guidance from such teachers, you will come out of all kinds of hinsa. Okay. So here it says that a teacher will be able to guide you to explain all these 6 kinds of aphorisms, where on one side you are saying that hinsa, the fruit will also be bad. On the other side, you are saying that hinsa, the fruit will be ahimsa. On one side, ahimsa, the fruit will be hinsa, vice versa. All these things are a bit confusing. So then they say that you go to a capable guru who is an expert in all kinds of nayas. So he could make you understand the perspective from where it is being said. So if you understand the perspective from where the statements are being made, you will be able to capture the true essence, true meaning of the aphorisms. Okay. So the importance of guru is very well depicted here. Okay. Let's read the commentary. Thus, in a dense forest of diverse bhangas, which is extremely difficult to cross. Difficult to cross means difficult to understand, because certain perspective, from the viewpoint of a certain perspective, things are being said. If you understand from that particular perspective, then you will be able to know the correct nature. Okay. Otherwise, you will misunderstand. For those whose vision has gone astray from the path of characterized by true Shraddhan, conviction, the venerable teacher alone are the refuge. Only through them can the nature of the true path be known. Okay. So for those misbelievers or wrong believer, only the guidance of teacher is capable of removing his delusion. Okay. So the importance of the teacher is being specified here. What kind of teachers are these? Those who know the functioning of the collective system of Nayas and are competent to explain all Nayas. Okay. So this was the 58 number. Now moving on to the last aphorism in this series, number 59 and aphorism number 8 regarding Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa is coming up. That deluded person, next page. Yes. Uh, yeah, 59, this one, yeah. The wheels of the Nayas. Okay, first the heading. That deluded person are unable to understand the nature of Himsa and Ahimsa within the collective of Nayas that is stated in the 8th aphorism. The wheel of Nayas of the Supreme Jinn, having an extremely sharp edge and being difficult to wield, instantly shatters the head of the ill-informed when it is taken up. So the wheel of Nayas of the Supreme Jina. Supreme Jina means the Tirthankar, okay, Arihant. So there, the wheels of Naya having an extremely sharp edge. So if you are able to apply it properly, your delusion will get destroyed immediately. Okay. But if you falter in execution at some point, then your own head will be shattered. Okay. So, the people who practices this sword and all, they keep on acting this. Now, by mistake, if that hand comes a bit lower level, then his own head would be detached. Okay. He would be killed by himself. Okay. So that is what the 8th verse is all about. We'll see the commentary. Yes. Understanding the distinctions of Nayas in the Jain doctrine is extremely difficult. Any deluded person who enters the wheel of Nayas without proper understanding. If the proper understanding would be there, then you will be able to reduce your delusion. Okay. You will be able to get rid of delusion totally. Okay. With proper understanding. But if you falter in understanding it properly, then incur harms instead of benefit. Okay. Then it will have a reverse effect. It will harm you instead of benefit. So what it says that there is a responsibility on your head to understand it properly as is mentioned in the scripture, as is being explained by the teacher. Okay. If you take it wrongly, as in objectives, if you don't understand the question properly, you commit mistakes, right? Sometimes very silly mistakes. And if you understand it correctly, then you get full marks. Okay. Thus, the various bhangas of himsa have been explained. The instruction for the renunciation of himsa is then given. Now the 60th coming up. So here it ends all the 8 aphorism held. Now we will repeat once each aphorism so that you remember it and you also come to know the different varieties of Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa, the different combinations. Okay. So it starts with 51. and ends at 59. 51. Yes. The first case, a person behaving carefully, no negligence, and walking with carefulness, but insect comes under his leg and gets killed. So because he was careful in his walking, he will not incur any bondages of hinsa. Okay, no karma's bondage, no karmic bondage. Okay. The second example in that same particular verse was that another person, he is not looking down at all, he is looking left and right and walking, and even a single insect is not being killed, still he will incur the karmic bondage of great hinsa. Okay, so this was the first one. Then the second one, yes, somebody committing little bit of hinsa but getting great fruits, and somebody committing large amount of hinsa, but the fruits, when the fruitation comes, it will be very less. Okay, so that was the second aphorism. Then the third aphorism, hinsa committed together brings different fruits for each person. Okay, and there we saw the result of the fight between the lion and the boar. Okay, both got killed. One went into heaven and the other went to hell. So this was number 3. Number 4th aphorism, there are 4 parts to it. 1 minute. Some hinsa yields its fruit even beforehand. Some yields its fruit while being committed simultaneously. Third, some yields its fruit even after having been committed. That's a normal case. And the fourth one, and some having merely begun the act of committing hinsa yields its fruit even when not actually carried out. Okay. And another thing, that this applies to both the previous aphorisms also and the coming aphorisms also. So that's why this is given in the 4th aphorism. Now the 5th aphorism. Yes. One person commits hitsa, yet many becomes recipient of its fruit. Okay. Somebody hanging. So the person who is responsible in the present for hanging, hangman, he's called a hangman. So hangman is responsible for that, but all the spectators who were watching, they are also getting fruits of hinsa. Okay, so one person committing crime, everyone has to suffer. Then the other case in that same one, in some cases, many persons commit hinsa in the case of a king, but only the king is responsible for the fruits. Okay. 1 lakh soldiers fighting for that king and killing another 1 lakh soldiers, but the soldiers will not get the fruits of hinsa because it is the king's order. So king is responsible for all this violence. So this was the 5th aphorism. Now coming on to the 6th. So in the 6th one, for a certain jiva, ahimsa gives the fruit of hinsa at the time of fruition. Okay. A jiva may inwardly possess a disposition intent on harming another. So blind person and the hunchback person. Yet outwardly, in order to gain trust, that jiva acts beneficially. I will cook your food, don't worry. or even when acting harmfully due to its fruition of merit of the other, that act becomes beneficial. So blind persons got back his eyes, okay, although the other fellow tried to kill him, but because of his good luck, that particular effort of killing him went futile, okay, and there outwardly compassion appears to have been shown, yet because the inner parinam disposition is violent, the fruit of ahimsa is obtained. Now another scenario in that particular one, a person may possess an inner disposition of compassion, okay, saving a small ant, putting across the road in a safe place, and upon seeing a suffering jiva, exert effort to remove that suffering. Even if immediate distress arises, or even if despite careful effort, the life of that suffering jiva is lost due to this person's involvement, there, although externally hinsa has been occurred, owing to the inner parinam, the fruit of ahimsa is obtained. Okay. So all the 6 aphorisms offering different perspectives to the same dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa. And now the definition of hinsa would be very clear to all of you. Okay. Because of this permutation combinations and the 6 aphorisms we studied. And in the 7th, just because these aphorisms are uh, depicting different varieties of peculiarities, that's why under the guidance of a guru, you should learn these nayas. Okay. He will explain you nicely and you will be able to understand. If you are not able to understand in the right sense, then on the contrary, you will do harm of yours rather than benefit. That was the 8th one. Okay. So in this way, all the 8 aphorisms, you can see everywhere there is dravya hinsa and bhav hinsa involved from different perspectives. And yeah, now we will look at what would be the fruits of this hinsa. Okay. So that is the aphorisms number 60, I think. 58, 59 is also done. And now the 60. Okay. The instruction for the renunciation of hinsa is then given. So in the 8th one, that if you are not able to apply properly the nayas, then instead of welfare, you will be harmed. Okay. And the example given was that your own body, your own face would be detached from your body. Okay. If you are not able to properly handle that understanding. Okay. So that was the 8th one. Now the instruction for the renunciation of hinsa is then given. 1 minute, 59. I think we have missed the 59. Okay, 59th is the 8th one. Okay, now the 60. Yes. Having understood in accordance with reality the injurious and non-injurious forms of hinsa and the fruits of hinsa, and constantly concealing one's own capacity, hinsa should be renounced according to one's own strength. 1 minute. Yes. Okay. So this is the same aphorism. Instruction for the renunciation of hinsa is given here. Okay. Read the commentary slightly below. Yes. Those jivas who are striving in samvara should always, 1 minute. Yes. So somewhere is stoppage. Okay. Somewhere element. So somewhere element is stoppage. So now again come back to the same page. Slightly. Yeah. I'll start reading again. Slightly above. Yes. 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 Those jivas who are striving in next page. Yes. In samvara. Samvara means stoppage. Should always renounce himself. Should always renounce hinsa according to their own capacity. Whatever degree of hinsa can be relinquished should indeed be relinquished. Okay. So one thing here I need to add that we are discussing only hinsa, but along with hinsa, the other four sins are also there. That is hinsa, falsehood, then theft, then unchastity and possession. All these are included in hinsa. So when we are talking about hinsa, it is not only about hinsa that we are talking, but other kinds of sins are also included in that. Okay. How is this to be done? So this is a very good topic. I'll start tomorrow. Okay. We will start from 60. So we'll keep up to 59 today and we'll begin with 60 again. If you get a chance, you can read the 60 and the following aphorisms, then it will be easier for you to understand. But if in today's explanation, if you have any questions, we can take up. Yeah. Any questions? No questions?
I think I'd like to say something. When you think about this whole himsa and how it's explained, it gets very applying it in daily life, it gets very complicated in the sense that you have to be very careful how you do things or think about things.
Why? I didn't understand. Because
Because
the violence direct connection is with your sentiments, not physical activity that you do.
yeah, so your thoughts are there, but then
Yes.
if you're not
So,
careful with your thoughts,
see, thoughts are not in our hand, but at least intention should be there, no? Right? You may not eat food before sunset, okay? But at least you can plan it out that I should be eating. Now I'm going to retire from business, or otherwise I'll leave from business at 1 hour early. Let the profit be less. We don't mind, but I want to follow this. Now these kind of thoughts are going on. That means your intention is not to eat food at night, right? But in terms of execution, it's not happening. Something or the other is coming up in office, so you are always getting late, right? But still your intention is there. With that intention, tomorrow that that auspicious thought will bring in auspicious fruition, and with that auspicious fruition you will be able to do it before sunset. Okay, it is always like that. Now supposing somebody was staying far off from the temple, so he could not go every day to the temple in the morning, right? But now he is thinking internally that I should get a home near the temple, so I could go to the temple every day in the morning before starting my day, or you can always think that I can send my kids to the Pathshala every day, something on similar lines. So you may not be staying nearby and you could go only in the weekends. But with your thoughts like this, things will happen that you will get a place near Mandir only. Okay. So everything depends on your intention. Okay. So that is what something where our efforts will work. You can always have a correct understanding, right? Now, this Nayas, we studied Naya very deeply. The 8 Nayas, the paper, I think two you have Nayas. Third is Gunasthan. And first one was about Tattvat Sutra. Okay. So this Nayas you could understand. With that understanding, you are your intention. Okay. Because of your intention, good things are automatically come in your life. Favorable situation will come in your life. Okay. So it is all about intention that matters. Activity is something which is not in our hand. We are not the doer of those activities, but with our good intention, gradually it will result into the activity being good, because there is an instrumental cause and effect relationship between them. Okay. So if your intention is good, your results would be good. But if your intentions are bad, even you may not be committing any sins outside, but still you will be binding many karmas. That's what all these aphorisms regarding Dravya Hinsa and Bhav Hinsa was all about. So the final word is that depending on the manifestations that we manifest, new bondages will happen. So if you have intense passions, intense bondage would be there. If you have mild passions, mild bondage would be there. Okay. Any other questions?
Sir,
No?
sir, one question. Now, sir, I like to say we like to light candles. Now that's
Okay.
very simple, Jeev Hinsa for the fire.
Yes.
But sir, Jeev Hinsa, if we do candle lighting, I don't. My question is basically is it okay? I mean, I know there is Jeev Hinsa. We are not bursting firecrackers.
So there is a
Not to
load shedding
that
in your
level.
home. There is a load shedding in your home. There is no light. So if you are lighting a candle, then it is still permissible.
No, lighting is not an issue, sir. That's just for ambience, basically. Just and it's not Jeev Hinsa in the sense of say firecrackers. We are not bursting. We are not even going for firecrackers viewing because of Anumodna and
Yes, definitely,
rituals in it.
definitely.
But then it just makes me think to have a balance, because candle, just a fragrant candle in the house, everybody
So
will
that's an individual call, what is your priority, what is the kind of environment that you live in. So it's all an individual call, So you came to my place. We are living very simple life.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to show anything to anybody.
Yeah.
So it's again, we don't go to any marriages. We don't go. So our life is basically very simple, Just because our priority is this Tattva Gyan. So we have forgone many things, just because of Tattva Gyan only. So we are happy that somebody would come to my place. I'm not going to anybody's place, so somebody would not come to my place. I'm okay with that. So this is some calls that you have to take, right? If you have a friend circle, then friends do help each other, right? But we have a sadharmik as friend circles. So see, it all depends what you want, how you want to go about it. It's an individual call. But
so, sir, the tivrata of the karmas,
I'll give you one more example. I was in one of the business club, something called BNI. You know BNI?
Yeah.
I was a member of that.
Business network.
So yeah. So I was going there and they served the snacks and everything in the morning. The meeting was around 8:30. So 8 o'clock they will serve the snacks. And since I was a member, I had to contribute these all and yearly fees and whatever it is, something like that. So then I thought that why am I here? I'm here to increase the business. So my business will anyway increase if I have good luck. Okay. So I stopped going there. I stopped. Although I was getting good businesses from there, I was getting good references and my whatever fees I paid for that. But then I realized that no, I don't want to do this. In the morning, I have to skip my temple and go early to the temple, not attending the. So all this, then I stopped it. So it's again all individual call. So it's all mindset, the more you understand, the more powerful will be your decision making power. Okay. So then you will be able to do things as you want. So in between there, you need to have a balance. And as you keep on studying again and again, you will realize that what is your priority. And then again, age is a factor. A person who is in age of 30, his priorities are different than a person who is having age 60. So again,
yeah, I mean, so that's the thing, like, been there, done that kind of a thing.
So as I said, this is an individual call.
Yeah.
We cannot have same kinds of priorities for each and everyone, right?
Yeah, no, so it's just like food for thought, because the other day, like, someone was talking about, like, some people love to wear diamonds. I'm one of them, by the way. But then she said, like, well, you're kind of, and she wasn't even Jain, like, she is kind of like half Christian, half Muslim. So she was just like, kind of from the humanity perspective, she was saying, like, do you know how many people they get killed in the coal mine extracting diamonds? And I'm like, well,
Right.
yeah.
And in diamond itself is a one-sensed being.
What?
Diamond itself is a one-sensed being.
No, I did not know that.
No, Darshit ji?
No, I didn't know that either. I
So
thought
even
it's
I
just
don't know
like
about that.
Jaisri ji would know. Jaisri ji is not there today, but
Rashi ji is there. Yeah, yeah.
Ji.
Rashi ji.
Rajeshri ji, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
diamond is a one-sensed being, no?
Yeah, yeah. It is.
Ah.
It is gone from the mountains.
Ah.
So it is definitely Ekindriya JV here because it's gone from the mountains.
But
Yeah.
then after
Bhumi.
processing the one sense being is no more there, right? Something like that?
No,
That one
it
sense is 4 types. That it is there after extracting also all this. There are 4 types of that earth, no earth. What is
I
in
know.
Hindi?
In
What?
Vayukai, Agnikai,
Earth is
Prithvi.
Bhumi, no?
Prithvikai.
Prithvi. There
Yeah.
are 4 types. One is with the jiva. After
Ah.
that body itself is a one jiva like that. There are 4 types. So
Right.
after extracting everything is there also.
Okay.
Mountain is big one. After breaking that that comes no small. That one also. There are 4 types of prithvikas.
So it's all individual calls,
It's better to wear gold.
Huh?
I'm just thinking, like,
gold
what is better?
gold also comes from Khan. It also comes from the mountains. Even the gold.
So even
Mines,
gold is
mines,
not
gold
wrong.
mines.
They are also gold mines. You have
Yeah.
diamond
Mines,
mines, you have
mines.
gold mines. They are all mined. They are not that they are a thing. So they are all mined.
Now I'm thinking, why did I even ask? Because now I have the knowledge.
No, like even marble that
Oh,
you put
gosh.
in your house, even the marble that you lay in your house is all Ekindriya Jeev. They are all taken from mountains.
Yes.
Even the marbles, whatever you do.
Marble or mosaic, we are putting all this.
And even when you cook food also, there is some hinsa. You are putting up the gas. So there are some hinsas which are unavoidable at certain stages, which are permissible, and there are something which you can avoid. So you have to take a call. Okay.
Sir, now realistically, sir, if you live in a society, like, I mean, I'm not in India because they judge you by your solitaires. Now, at least, like, I'm living here, but still I feel like अभी तो मालूम पड़ गया, अभी तो ज़्यादा दोष लगेगा. Until unless
so you have to understand that there are something unavoidable. So you have to think on those lines. You have to strike a balance everywhere, Priyanka.
Okay,
it's not one-sided. You listen something and you start thinking on those lines. No, it's a balance. You have to understand everything, and keeping everything in mind, you have to take a call. It's not just one aspect and you immediately take that.
No, sir. That's why I was asking, like, like that colleague of mine, she mentioned about like people getting killed because in the process of extracting diamonds.
Not everyone. It's not everyone, Priyanka. It's only in one place that the diamond, and they blown it
What
out
about
of
silk?
proportion.
Silk.
They blew it
Silk
out
is
of
more
proportion. It
harm
was in
than
Africa.
diamond. No, silk is more harmful than diamond.
Silkworm.
Wearing silk is very, very harmful than diamond. Because
so there are many
they are-
things, even while
silk
eating
is very
also,
harmful.
some people don't eat tomatoes also. And some people don't eat watermelons also, because those are considered also that many lives are there.
Bow beach, sir.
Bow beach, right. So there are different things. So you have to see your strength, your efforts, your eligibility, and then you have to decide.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you all.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है।